What is up, Gamer Army? Welcome back to another episode of Psycho Gamer. I'm your host, Aubrey, as always, and today we have a bunch of different things we're going to talk about. Yes, it is pretty much all Arcade1up related this time, as it normally is. I'm probably going to try to do some pinball stuff here pretty soon for maybe some Stern pinball cabinets that have either been out or are coming out, so we'll see what's going on with that. But we are going to talk about a few different things. We're going to look at some information that has been commented on by John D in terms of Dragon's Lair, possible Marvel vs. Capcom information, and we're also going to talk about NBA Jam XL Shaq Edition. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe, guys. Stay tuned. We are going to talk about all of these different items right after this, so stay tuned. Be right on back. All right. Welcome back. Like I said, we are going to talk about a few different topics right now, and they're kind of hot topics right now, so we're going to end up switching right over to my computer, and we're going to go over a few pictures that are actually available to all of us to see, especially if you are on some of the Facebook groups that many of us already are. So we're switching over right now. All right, as you can see right here, this is from a gentleman named Nick Gamble. He has actually received his Arcade1up XL NBA Jam Shaq Edition. So this one was shown off just a few months ago at one of the events where Shaq actually unveiled this particular cabinet, being the first cabinet that they've actually released that actually has a 19-inch screen. So it is massive too compared to many of the previous ones in terms of width. Height, it's going to be pretty comparable to any of the previous ones that have been out that had your risers on them. It is actually going to be a little taller. So that's a nice thing. Now, hopefully this is going to be more the size and the shape of many of the cabinets coming out in the near future and also distant future. We know the Pro Series have not come out yet when it comes to these particular cabinets, but hopefully with the birth of this one, we are going to see more cabinets that could possibly come out. So next screen, we're going to go over to something John D actually kind of commented on. He made a comment over on the official Arcade1up Global fan page talking about Marvel vs. Capcom 2 because he knows that everybody has been kind of looking for every little bit of information they possibly can about Arcade1up releasing Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Many of us, up to and including myself, thought maybe they might have unveiled it this past couple weeks at Comic-Con, but that was not the case. If you watch my last video, you'll notice that many people really had a lot to say about this. But the next big event coming up is EVO 2022. Could that be the next instance or chance for Arcade1up to really showcase one of their cabinets at a big event? I think this would be a perfect place next to obviously doing Comic-Con. But, you know, Comic-Con, you have comic book characters. I mean, it just kind of makes sense. Going to EVO 2022, you are looking at, you know, fighting games. This is a huge, huge, huge fighting game. So, wow, it's been 13 years since I launched Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for Capcom USA. Hashtag free MvC2, Arcade1up official. Time flies. And looking at just his announcement there, it was 2019 that he actually posted this talking about the Xbox Live version. So it's kind of ominous, wouldn't you say? Especially when people really want to see this game. Now, I would love to see it in an XL cabinet, kind of like what you saw with the Shaq Edition, with upgraded joystick and buttons as well. Are we going to see that? Probably not. So I know a lot of you are probably already starting to maybe put money aside or already starting to buy the parts to replace these with much higher qualities, so you don't have to go spend, you know, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 just to buy one of these official cabinets for just one game. It's still a matter of question of what games are going to be on this. Obviously, I'm sure that Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is going to be on there with Marvel vs. Capcom Part 1. So Marvel Superheroes, Street Fighter 2, I'm sure there's going to be many different variations. And it's probably going to be a fighting game cabinet with maybe 1 or 2 regular games that are tossed in there just for giggles. So over on the next screen, he actually starts talking about dead lobbies and some of the games you're looking at. Let's have a discussion about dead lobbies. When Scott Backrack first had the idea of online play, we fought against it because we knew lobbies would seem scarce because of our small install base. Look at the problems iArcade is having with the same issue, which I could see that. I find it interesting this is somehow a negative of this cabinet. Scott said he didn't care because it's a feature we should have, even though they're inactive and no reason to take it out, especially when we don't charge for service and it's peer-to-peer. If you don't know what peer-to-peer is, it's basically you and that one person are just going against each other. There's not really a server in between. So it's just making a direct connection between your two cabinets, meaning it can basically live forever. I even watched a recent video where we should have just spent resources elsewhere and not waste our time. We're also still building this very small community by including some popular games in future cabinets with crossplay to grow the community. So that would be awesome, so you don't have to have 2 of the exact same cabinets. It'd be cool if you had, Mortal Kombat 3 on one cabinet and you had a completely different cabinet that had the exact same game. So that would be really cool. On top of this, we are adding online play to games that never even had it before, even before Capcom, Atari, Namco, and Midway. So should we not even bother? Fact is, only a small percentage of casuals will even play online. I think a solution is to have a safe environment for newbies by having unranked rooms and a better way to find friends. So I actually agree with that. Now, hear me out, because online play for many of these games is a great idea. Now, is it a great idea for games like, say, Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man or Galaga or something like that? I don't think those would be great. I think they're doing the right thing by doing leaderboards with these particular games. Now you start looking at, how many fights these people have won. There's not a lot of fights these people have really won because there's not a lot of people playing these games online. Why? Because you're looking at $500 and $600 and $700 cabinets. It's not like they have a PlayStation and then they just download the game and can play it. So for these particular machines, it's a little more touch and go when it comes to that. It's a touchy question. What do you guys think? Do you think some of the games that they've actually made have online play? Should they have had online play? What games do you think did not deserve online play? Post it down below. Let me know what you think when it comes to that, because I'm sure there's quite a few of them that you're like, why did they even add online play for this? I think the leaderboards are a great idea for many of these games. So that's going to do it for this particular topic. We're going back to John D's page again, talking about Dragon's Lair. Now, Dragon's Lair, there's a lot of people who have been complaining a little bit because the audio has not been adding up or syncing up correctly with the actual video that's going on in this particular cabinet. Now, he states this, probably last time I'll address this, all remastered versions of Dragon's Lair, and yes, even the arcade version has some audio sync issues. While ours isn't a remastered version per se, but using the true 4x3 or 4x3 HD assets from the original film transfer, you'll see the 1UP version has less audio sync issues than previous commercial releases. Plus, we're showing full graphics with no cropping and zoom in. He shows a clip from Kong's R Us review comparing the Arcade1up versus the iArcade versions and asking if you see the difference. Now, I'm not going to play this specifically because this is something that you can go check out Kong's R Us either on Facebook or over on YouTube. Most likely you'll be able to find it just fine on YouTube. So how many of you guys have actually bought this cabinet and have noticed this issue? I know that you look, there's 141 comments. He actually gets into it pretty hard and heavy with a couple people, but it is a debate whether or not it's Arcade1up's fault, if it's the fault of the creators of the actual game. It can kind of go in multiple different directions. And then you have people that are also stating that, they could have done a better job, so they're going to go do it themselves. More power to you guys. I commend to anybody that can go out and make something happen, as opposed to just going online and just talking a bunch of trash. So that is going to do it for today's video, guys. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that this is going to be the right platform in terms of EVO for unveiling Marvel vs. Capcom 2? We would like to see NFL Blitz or Time Crisis, yes, but I think that Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is going to be shown off at EVO. Why? Because you're talking 2-3 months before the actual game comes out, and that's kind of the time period where they have been doing announcement. Yes, I've been hopeful that they've been wanting to show this cabinet off at some of these other platforms, or, you know, such as EVO or Comic-Con or E3 or, you know, any of those particular shows, just to give people that little glimmer of hope. A little bit. That's all we're hoping for. Just a little glimmer. But Dragon's Lair, what do you think of the issues with Dragon's Lair in terms of the audio sync issues? And have you gotten your NBA Jam XL Shaq edition yet? Or did you actually order it? Or did you even want to order it? It's going to be big. It's not going to be as small as your other ones that are out there. So that's going to do it for today's video, guys. I appreciate you guys coming out and checking out this long, drawn-out video. Hopefully you'll find some really good content in this, and you'll make sure you hit that like and subscribe. So stay tuned for the next episode of Psycho Gamer, guys. Game on.